What's up, guys? Ivan here with GetIvan.com. In this video, we're going to be talking about how to avoid the top SEO scams and cons. This is a Quora question that I answered today, and for some reason, I just got really into answering this question. I formulated this detailed response, which I'll link to below this video in this description. And then at the end, I realized that this person was probably asking from the context of like being a customer. So I'll kind of talk about that at the end. Like I was answering it in the context of someone trying to learn SEO and just figure out how to do it themselves. And I guess that's kind of similar. There's some crossover context between wanting to do SEO for your business and be an SEO provider, and also I guess hiring someone to do SEO. So my answer to this question was, in terms of what are the top scams and cons and how do you avoid them for SEO? And I think the top scam and con is secrets, especially with SEO, because SEO is it's not like building a website, which is kind of like flicking a light switch. Once you build the site, the site is built, the customer knows the site is built, and it's really easy service to fulfill. Whereas SEO is kind of like you have to demonstrate that you're doing something. You also have to track progress of search engine ranking positions. And then after a period of time, the goal is to demonstrate, hey, we ranked your property by doing XYZ over this period of time, and here's this SERP tracker where we can demonstrate these results over a period of time. So it's a long-term service. It's very difficult to get clients to commit to this service without a contract, in my experience, and I've been doing this so far full-time since 2015. And a lot of clients are excited about it in the beginning. They stick with it for like 2 months, and then they quit, so they never see results. But then from the standpoint of a service provider trying to, getting started in this field, and certainly as someone who wants to do this for their business, there's so much misinformation about SEO, and there's so many people talking about the secrets, basically, that there's certain things that they need to impart to you, guru-isms, in order for you to be successful. And so I kind of put this meme here as a sort of joke, that all these gurus kind of act like they're wizards, and there's a Bible verse that says, "A man that holdeth his peace is esteemed wise," or something like that. And that's kind of the spirit of guruism out there. So I'm just going to kind of read through this here and kind of cover some of these points verbally. But biggest scam in SEO is secrets to success. So it's gurus that have this idea of special secrets and tricks, and typically they want you to subscribe to some sort of package, like $500 one-time fee or $1,000 one-time fee. And I've spent thousands of dollars on these types of packages, and they're pretty much all a ripoff. There's nothing complicated about SEO. It's just content and links. But it's really easy to spend tons of your time on gimmicks, and that's kind of what I talk about in these bullet points. First point to avoiding scams and cons in SEO, whether you're learning or you're purchasing. Don't watch webinars. Webinars, their whole purpose is to sell you something. And yeah, some of them will have some useful information, but they're mostly designed to sell you something that you don't need. A big ticket item that if you had saved your $500 or $1,000, you could have turned that around and bought links and bought content and links, and you would have been 10 times better off than if you had purchased some course or some piece of software or whatever the thing may be, consultancy from some quote unquote guru. Second point, don't buy from independent marketers. This is really kind of the same thing, but this is just further to the point. If you're going to buy something, buy it from a legitimate service. Don't buy from a service like JVZoo, ClickBank, or Warrior Forum. You can get value from those places. I've purchased dozens and dozens of little micro products from JVZoo in particular over the years, but they don't last. It's very rare to have something last longer than a year, and it takes a long time to figure out if it's even viable. And most of the time, like, you kind of maybe can learn a little bit of something from stuff like this, but not really enough to make a career out of it necessarily, unless it's just like a really basic informational product that's like 15 or 30 bucks or something, or maybe 50 bucks, that is just sort of teaching you the basics of something. And even then, it's just kind of like, why don't you just go to YouTube and learn it for free? But it does kind of have its place in that this is actually how I got started. I bought a course for like 35 bucks, and half of it was on flipping domains, and then the other half of it was on building a website with WordPress and ranking it using SEO. And so that's kind of how I got my start. The domain flipping part didn't really work. And I even spent, like $500 on this one domain thinking I could flip it for a profit, and it just didn't work out. There's a whole lot that I didn't know. So half of that course was kind of like, okay, half of this you kind of got scammed on. The other half, it kind of built your career. So there is some value to basic level information, but if I had only known really what to look for, I could have found it for free. So there is some value in knowing what to look for, but if you're spending really kind of any significant amount of money, you're probably wasting it. Understanding how to do things is much simpler than people think that it is. So third point, don't buy courses on consulting for more than 50 bucks to 250 bucks. So there's a lot on this point. Really kind of already covered this. $500 to $1,000 products are pretty common. I wouldn't spend more than this range on anything like that, and I'd have to really, really feel like like if you're buying a static product, never you don't need to spend this much on static, generic information, because it's probably already out there. And that's why at one point I was actually making money on SEO consultation, and I had like a third of it as a static product, a third of it as keyword research, and a third of it as like a custom tailored strategy. And I stopped selling at one point I spent like a year getting ready for a membership, and I really just threw it out the window because it was so cumbersome. And I kind of just started to realize all this money I've spent on courses is a waste of time, waste of my money. I might as well just give this stuff away for free. And that's exactly what I did. You can find the same stuff that people have paid me thousands of dollars for over the years on, between a lot of different clients, of course, on my YouTube channel. And that's not even the main stuff that people watch over there. So it's not that it's relative. It's just, it's not worth that much. Like once I put in the time to make a video, I've already done the work, and it's very generic. So if you're going to pay somebody a significant quantity of money, then pay for active consultancy where you can go back and forth and ask questions and actually get a real person's help, and not just be put into a sales funnel. Because that having an actual coaching experience does have some value, but it's not this kind of value. There's some people who think that it's worth this much, but I haven't met anybody where that's the case. Like, and if one dude gets 100 people to buy his $1,000 course, then he's just going to go on a guru killing spree, essentially, publishing his glory to the masses, when he probably hasn't even done that much to deserve that kind of title. This is a big ticket item, and that's not that many sales to achieve that number. So there's a big difference between conning somebody for $1,000 and then actually being able to say, hey, I built a business with significant infrastructure, and around a very particular target audience. I developed a service. I developed a business model. I developed a piece of software or a unique method. Like that is a person of interest to receive consultancy from. And they will probably know that, hey, like the bigger the ticket also, that's the bigger the commitment. And so I sell like an hour's worth of like consultancy, or like, a back and forth thing for like 125 now. And every once in a while someone will approach me for that. But this right here is crazy money. Like this right here is someone doing something for you, so something to keep in mind. Fourth point, don't buy complicated automation software. There's a lot on this topic. As a lot of you know who follow my channel, I use Scrapebox. The Scrapebox only costs $100, but there's also other things that go into learning. There's a lot of time involved learning about Scrapebox. There's proxy costs, so there's a bit of a commitment. But the biggest thing about Scrapebox is its ability to handle data, the ability for you to handle URLs and do filtering and stuff like that. That is what is so cool about it. There's so many utilities built into it that that a lot of people would resort to scripting in order to be able to do those kinds of things. So there are some exceptions, but there's a ton of tools like some of these SEO, Autopilot, RankerX, Money Robot, and so on and so forth that you can spend a lot of money on and a lot of time and not get very much result by comparison. So that's another area where I'd say, like, if you're spending a small amount of money, it's probably there's something there. Like you guys have seen me use Atomic Webmail Verifier before, and that thing costs like $60 a year for unlimited email verification. That's a good deal on software. This is a good deal on software. Stuff like this, though, it's like a pipe dream. It's a scheme. It's basically a scam because the amount of time that you're losing into some of that stuff is worth a whole lot more, even the money you're paying. And so you got to be really careful thinking about, the vanity of automation. Everybody talks about automation these days, but you can spend like a year trying to set up some sort of automation and just never get your project live. It's a tortoise and the hare thing. It's so much better to just set up your website, put your article up every day or every week or whatever. By the end of a year, you'll probably have more progress and more rankings to show for the slow method than you would by trying to get going on, you know, RSS feeds and automated syndications to PBNs. And this is something that I get tempted with myself, uh, and I'm getting to the point where with some of my side projects that I've been working on for some of this stuff over the years, where I'm kind of saying, okay, I think enough is enough. It's time to just get simpler with how we're approaching some of these schemes. Okay, so point five, don't spend too much time on alternate signals. So this is probably a really controversial point, and I cite social signals, NAP citations, um, let's see, infographic links, tiers and stacks, press releases, automated click-throughs, stuff like that. And some of these have value. You can get value from an infographic link. You can get value from tier links. You can get value from PR, certainly from PR. I use this on my reputation management projects, and it works really well one time, you know. Um, and so there's something to be said for any and everything, but like I argue in this paragraph here, entire vendors' entire business models have been based on social signals, and these are very controversial. Some people say they get great benefit from it. Other people say like these basically do nothing, you know. And for NAP citations, like you can get something from local SEO there, and sometimes people see upticks, and sometimes it doesn't really do anything. So it's just kind of like, why are we wasting our time on complicated schemes for alternative signals? Really, the biggest ones I found in my experience are PBN links, niche edits, guest posts, and those are just basically articles and links. And video embeds are great too, but just regular old links. And there's tons of vendors who have their own networks for PBN links. And my goal when I do SEO is diversification of referring IPs. And you can always find vendors who have their own PBN network and who do some of this other stuff too. But the PBN links are the main thing. The rest of this stuff, like it's interesting, it's different, but it's like a gimmick. And oftentimes it can be difficult to find quality vendors, or more expensive depending on vendors you're looking at. So it's just kind of like you can spend all your time trying to craft some weird strategy with some combination of gimmicks, especially like tiers and stacks. There was a season I remember a couple of years ago, like in 2019 or so, where maybe it was 2018, somewhere in that region. There was a lot of vendors who were like really going for Google stacks, G stacks. And so there was a couple softwares that I guess people were using to automate the creation, of Google Docs, and it's still around, but Google Docs and Google Drive files, and Google slide files. And the argument is, oh, Google has 100 domain authority and Google loves Google. Everybody was saying that at that time. Google loves Google. They won't penalize Google, without recognizing the fact that the algorithm can penalize a link on a page. It's common sense. And so, there's just all kinds of schemes out there for this kind of stuff. And, if you want to try that, that's fine. It's just that you only have so much budget. So why waste it on a bunch of schemes? That's my argument here. Just go with what has been around for ages: content and your typical backlinks, even just regular PBN links. Though that is standard SEO and it works. Okay, point 6, don't try to get rich quick with SEO. This probably sounds like common sense, but to a lot of people it's not. And that's why they seek the schemes, they seek the quote unquote gurus who can give them the secret sauce and the secret technique. And a lot of that, everything that I've ever seen has been just nonsense, just a silly line of reasoning. I saw somebody the other day post on Facebook for Money Robot, and he was saying like he ranked for some sort of lawyer term, and I started asking him questions, and I was like, there's a very simple question: how do you know if you wait? He was like saying, I don't build links until I see movement. And so I said, okay, how long do you wait until you see movement? And how do you know which links cause the movement once you do see it? And so he started crafting his reply, and it was really clear that he just made that up. He didn't have an answer for that. And that's the issue. When you're building links regularly in content, how do you know which of those links you're building to that piece of content is responsible for that rank increase? The answer is that you don't. You can't know that, because you don't know at what period of time Google will reward any particular link. That's why you build as many different kinds of links from different kinds of networks as you can, because you don't know what is going to work for you. It's a numbers game. And so don't waste your time with get-rich-quick schemes. I saw somebody on Facebook post yesterday, it may have been today or yesterday. They posted pictures of rankings. And they were saying, we got these results in less than a month. Contact me if you want to know how to do this. Get these if you're not getting these results in less than a month, you're not doing modern SEO or whatever. And it was all green on one thing and green on another thing. And I guess it was like a local type of SERP tracker or whatever. That's scam talk. That is, here, give me your money, I'll give you the method, and then I'll tell you and then once you start doing it, I'll tell you, well, you're not following protocol and when it doesn't work. You got to ignore that stuff. Ignore the get rich quick stuff. Ignore the fast timeline. Expect your SEO to take more than a year. If it takes 2 years, that's fine. Heck, if you plan for 3 to 5 years, that's a good goal. And SEO really should, unless you have a big budget and a lot of sites, you're not going to rank something every day. It's a long-term method. And if you think I'm going to rank something in 6 months, you're going to be disappointed. But if you think, okay, I'm going to invest $250 a month in my links, or $500 a month, whatever, and I'm going to look for rankings a year from now, you're going to see rankings. You can even see rankings just from a landing page if you do that. And I've tested that myself to confirm that. If you just have a landing page with decent content and you build backlinks to it every month, $100 some odd worth of backlinks every month, you will see rankings after a year of some kind. Because backlinks with content, that's still content and links. You know what I'm saying? And so you just make a budget and make a plan for basic amounts of content and links every month. Give yourself 1 to 2 years to start seeing rankings, and expect that after 2 years you will have achieved significant rankings. If you make a long-term goal, you won't disappoint yourself and you won't give up. But that's the key. You've got to budget for 1 to 2 to 3 years, and in that time you will see significant progress. You will meet some arrangement of your goal. So that's pretty much it, guys. Those are my 6 and I put that formula there: SEO equals content plus backlinks over time. And those are my 6 little points on, let's see here. how to avoid SEO scams and cons. It's basically don't don't trust people who give you unrealistic short-term expectations, and don't waste your money on those people. Put your money into your content and your links. It's really, really simple. That's it. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you later, guys. Bye bye.